Whoa! Holy moly, that's crazy. Whoa! My
Whoa.
desk is cold and I touched my leg and it scared me. It was cold. I didn't
It
like that.
scared you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Look, if
I'm
you're
sorry.
look, if you're expecting something to be freezing cold and it's room temperature, that's gonna burn your mouth, Noah.
Good reference there.
Dude,
I got
that's a
that.
deep cut reference. If anyone gets that reference, I will be very impressed because that is very niche.
That is definitely one of the lesser known, lesser talked about ones, we'll
Yeah.
say.
We'll see if anyone gets that. My goodness. Well, folks, we're a month out from the iPhone event. Isn't that hard to believe?
Oh no, it's weird that it's been a year, almost a year since the last one. Goes by fast.
It's crazy. It feels like just 11 months ago.
Yeah, just 11
It's
months ago,
weird.
give or take a week.
Yeah. Give or take about a week. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's just one of those crazy days. Uh dude, I don't know. I feel like we've had a pretty quiet summer in terms of like rumors and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say we haven't talked about what we're expecting in the September event yet. And on the one hand, yeah, it's still a month away. We still have some time. But also, like to your point, there haven't really been a lot of rumors. I've seen a few little things on Twitter, but we can talk about
Mhm.
them today. But there hasn't been anything major, anything like super interesting in a while, which I guess is why we haven't talked about it yet.
Yeah, I think it's we definitely I think maybe today would be a good day to start lining up what we're expecting
Yeah.
because I do think that I mean it's weird. We've technically been in a little bit of a tech drought here since I guess not a very long one since 2 months ago we had WWDC, which was quite eventful, I should say. So I guess a brief tech drought, but iPhone season is usually a pretty good kickoff. I'm not sure we're going to get a Mac event though this year. That's the only thing. But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, we did get 15-inch MacBook Air,
Yeah.
Mac Pro, some other things at Dub. So, you could very well be right there.
Yeah, honestly, I think next year is going to be a very exciting year. We're talking M3 getting a new process, new node. Bunch of new Macs are rumored for that. Displays, we've had display rumors. We've heard about OLED iPads. We've heard about an iPhone 16 Ultra. And of
Vision
course, Vision
Pro.
Pro. Like, damn, next year's going to be stacked.
Oh, yeah. And, we're not even that far away. It's already August, which is really crazy to think about, but it's already August. We've got a couple more weeks, maybe of tech drought, but hopefully the rumors will start to pick up a little bit. iPhone event's going to be super exciting. Not sure if we'll get anything else. Not sure. I mean, we were saying maybe not Max, maybe something else, maybe new AirPods Max, maybe please some point. And then next year is going to be
I would love
crazy. It's
that.
going to be amazing.
I'm very excited. Very, 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 very excited for next year. But I'm also excited. Now that I brought this up, I feel like I need to show you. So I accidentally bought a steering wheel, and
Uh-huh.
I mentioned this just before we started, and I wanted to show you why I bought a steering wheel. Let's see here. I'm finding them on eBay. Sport designed steering wheel. Okay. So let me show you. All right, here we go. I got two tabs open here. And I'm sorry, this literally just happened. My offer got accepted like 30 minutes ago. So I'm very, very excited here. But basically, this is the steering wheel that is currently in my 2009 Porsche Cayman. And personally, I've never been a fan of it, but okay, this one's in nice shape. That's a good example. All right. So I'm not a huge fan of the looks of it. I think it's a little weird how the silver piece like gets all skinny on the side. It's kind of like downturned. But by far and away the most irritating thing are these. These I don't know what Porsche was smoking in the 2000s, but they were just like, we must put on the most incomprehensible gear shifters known to mankind. This is what we must do. So normally when you have a car with a gearbox, you have paddle shifters on the steering wheel. That's how you shift, right? So on the right side, you shift up. On the left side, you shift down. Porsche looked at that and they thought, Nine, we can overcomplicate this. And so they put these goofy buttons where there's two. So on either side, you can pull it towards you to shift down, or you push away with your thumb to shift up. Very, very odd. Like, it honestly makes. I have owned the car for a year, and I still hit the wrong thing because there's no logic to it.
That is weird. I'm not like nearly as into cars as you are, but like obviously I've seen paddle shifters and I've never seen something like that before.
Paddle shifters make sense. These are utter nonsense. Get it? And it's not even like the older design isn't even any better. Here's one. Oh my god, it opens up a new tab every time. Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
So that steering wheel, that previous was the that's for the PDK, the dual clutch gearbox. So the previous model year has this, which is a different design. Let me see if they have a close up of the yes. So here's another design. Again, the button is on both sides, and it's like a rocker switch. It literally feels like a volume switch.
Ooh,
terrible. It doesn't make any sense. This is a terribly designed steering wheel. First of all, there's no grips at 10 and 2 for your hand to grab. The rim is very thin, so it feels kind of cheap, and those buttons are terrible. So Porsche had just utterly terrible steering wheels. But the one that I got is the one right after it, where they finally fixed it. This is what it looks like. I don't know about you, but I think this looks way better, just aesthetically.
$1,200.
This isn't the exact listing that I bought, and I'll explain why I bought this and what I paid. So this one, so this one has there's like these LED lights here for launch control and Sport Plus. So some of the steering wheels don't have those. That's why this is $1,200. And the airbag is actually compatible, so I don't need to get a new airbag. And look at those paddle shifters. Oh, they're real. They're actual paddles behind the wheel. They're not even like weird and tacked on. This is like legit, so I'm very excited. But the reason, so I paid $900, and mine came with an airbag, but it's a redundant airbag because I already have the airbag that works. So my plan is $900 on the steering wheel. I sell my old steering wheel for about $200 or $300, so we're down to $700, and then the airbags are another like $200 or $300. So I reckon I can subsidize my steering wheel purchase down to like $500 or $600, and I think it'll be worth it at that point because this looks so much better.
It does look way better, especially the paddle shifters, like they look like metal. Are they actual like
they are
metal?
Yes.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, no, this is a really nice steering wheel. I think it was optional on on my model year, but it's like almost impossible to find cars that actually have these from the factory. They started shipping mostly on the later ones, but let me just show you, because I was like trying to see if there were other cars like mine that have that steering wheel, and it came to my attention, and I might make a video about this on my car channel, that the I'll just put in a random zip code vaguely near me. Okay, nationwide. Let me just show you this, because it's actually like insane. I didn't realize how rare my car has become. So if we do from 2009, that's what I have, to 2012. These are the cars that are like the same as mine. Look at this. Nationwide search on Auto Tempest. There's only 2. What?
Wow.
Yeah. There are only 2 of these in the entire United States that are for sale. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and you owned 2 of them. Not those 2, but you owned 2
Well,
of that car at one point.
Well, so I owned the so this is the 2009 to 2012 is the facelift. I owned a 2008. So if you get the first gen one, those were made from 2006 to 2008. Those there's plenty of. Like you can see here, I guess 64 Cayman S's from 2006 to 2008. So these you can find. But isn't that interesting? 64 of these. A lot of the reason that this happened, by the way, is because of the recession. Because, the recession hit right when that 2009 came out, and people were like, yeah, I'm going to not spend 80 grand on a sports car when the economy's in a free fall. So they're really rare.
Huh. That makes a lot of sense, but it is really interesting.
Anyway, sorry, that's my little rant. I'm excited for my new steering wheel.
Yay.
And cool guy 5555551, I think I said the right amount of fives.
I think so.
Asked, will I ever consider an EV Porsche? The answer to that is, oh yeah. You see an electric Porsche, you go in. Yes, you do. You go in. Dude, there is in 2025, electric Porsche Cayman is going to come out. And Porsche, actually, we can start the show because I could tie it back into Apple here.
Okay.
Porsche, you might have seen, is integrating their climate controls and vehicle controls into CarPlay. They're the first one to do it.
That's right. I think I did see that.
And it's fine. I'm like, finally. So maybe, hopefully by 2025, dare I say it, electric Porsche Cayman with next-gen Apple CarPlay. Oh, man. I'm going to be broke.
Yeah, that sounds like the car for you.
Oh, it's dangerous. It's the crossover of electric cars, and Apple, and I'm not going to recover from that.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I delayed. My excitement has delayed the start of the show here by 2 minutes. I'm terribly sorry for that, folks. But I think we should go ahead and get started.
Let's do it.
Welcome to Drk Mode, the podcast that brings you sage advice from 2 technology experts. And that's not just what we call ourselves. It's what our moms tell people when we install Apple CarPlay. I'm your host, Luke Miani.
And I'm your host, Noah Rubin. On the show, we take questions from listeners, attempt to answer them to varying degrees of success, and maybe even have a laugh or two along the way.
And you know what? I gotta start you off with something that I got this on impulse. Let me hang on. I gotta get it.
Okay, Luke's getting something We were talking about a new steering wheel in the pre-show here. I don't think it's the steering wheel. What is it?
No, it's not the steering wheel. We're in full Apple mode now.
Okay.
I distracted everyone. I'm catching up here on all of the things that people commented on the steering wheel, and now I want to go back to it, but I'm not going to. All right. So, as you might know, Noah, I love the iPhone 2G. The original iPhone is so iconic. This is just a random one that I pulled out of my pile.
Of course.
More on that to come, if you know what I mean. But this iPhone 2G, this is what we all know. Here's something that you might not have ever seen before, Noah. Certainly not something that I had ever seen, but I do remember them existing. Needs a little bit of work, but check this out.
Oh, the white bottom?
It's all white.
Oh. What?
So
What is that?
this is from a company called Colorware. You can kind of see their logo here at the bottom. So
Okay.
this was a company that would sell these custom hand painted iPhones. So it's like an automotive paint. It's actually, I mean, mine is it's a little rough, to be quite honest with you. And the phone itself is not the happiest phone I've ever seen. It sort of crashes and reboots frequently, so I might switch out the internals here. I actually don't even know how many gigabytes is this phone. It won't turn on. Ah, geez. But isn't that crazy? I'd never seen one in person before. I just very vaguely remember hearing about Colorware back in the day, but I've never seen one.
Yeah, I don't know if I've even heard of that back in the day. Like obviously now I know there's
Yeah.
like, the custom, like I think I don't know if it was them, but there was a thing with like the custom AirPods because AirPods have only ever come in white. There's like, you can get custom colors. I know there's like custom phones and stuff, but I didn't know that they did them all the way back in the iPhone 2G. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Actually, it looks like they're still around. Look at that. I just found their current website. So
Hmm.
I think they said somewhere that they had like AirPods, PlayStations. That's interesting. I mean, they're very bright colors. I guess you could get painted AirPods Max. How much do they charge for these? Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, with the different color buttons, especially. I really like that.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. They're $850 though. They are not cheap.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think I could imagine. I actually really like this mint color. That looks incredible.
The mint on the air cups and then the darker green on the buttons is
Oh
really,
yeah.
really nice.
Oh yeah. That looks really nice. I don't like the multicolor. I kind of like the gloss too. I mean, this is really cool. I mean, I guess they're still going. They're still in business. This is, I think, where it all began. These iPhone 2Gs. It is really something.
I mean, I think these things are cool because I love having like fun colors on all my like technology. I always buy the colorful iPhone of the year, whatever. But like this is a next level. It's a little bit expensive, I think, for me to go for it. But like having
Oh yeah.
a unique color is pretty cool.
I haven't even done that much research. So this phone came from China. Looks like, oh man, I would have loved to see what one of these looked like when they were new. I mean, look at these red iPhone 3Gs. That looks so sick.
Wow, is that a product red?
It kind of does look like it. Man, I want to find one of those now. But I don't know. I don't even know where. I have never ever seen one of these ever before for sale. So, no questions asked. I bought it. I have no idea how much they're worth. I think I paid like $40, which is not bad at all. I assume.
That's not that much.
But yeah, this is interesting. Oh my god, it keeps autofilling this random MacBook from a video that I did. I'm looking up colorware iPhone. Let's see if there's any. Wow, one result, and it's not even close. It's a colorware Bose headphones.
Rare.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess by its nature.
That's anyway. Yeah, so that's my in honor of us being 1 month out from the iPhone event. I wish that this was in better condition. I'm going to try to clean it up a little bit, but I don't want to, remove any paint. Very cool little find here.
Yeah, I like that. I didn't even know that those existed in the 2Gs.
Yeah. I'd heard of the company, but I never knew that they were like that old. And even then I haven't even found a picture of another one. Colorware iPhone 2G. I guess all right, I found one picture from Reddit and they have a replaced bottom plate, so it's not even complete. And it's also yellow and it looks terrible. But apart from that, yeah. Cool stuff.
Very cool. And since we're talking about old iPhones, should we also talk about new iPhones?
Dare I say future iPhones even?
Yeah, now we're talking.
That's my boy right there. Yeah, so look, my video today I'm in a weird mood. All right? iPhone rumors are
Okay.
weird.
Okay. How's that?
So the hypothesis of my video today was basically we're in this weird period of time where phones are all really, really good. And I don't think that I don't even know how to phrase this. I don't think that it's a bad thing necessarily, but the concept of a super cycle phone, that one phone that's like so amazing that it breaks sales records. I don't think people actually want to make those phones anymore. Back in the day, Apple used to do a 2-year phone cycle, basically. 4, 4S, 5, 5S, etc. But that was in a different time period. That was back when phones were sold on contract. So most people had them for 2 years. So there was no point trying to sell someone a new phone every year because in many cases they legally couldn't buy one. But now everyone's like, you know what? Why are we going to prevent people from spending more money? Just get them to buy a new phone every year. No contracts. Just upgrade incentives to try to get you to switch carriers. And I don't know, it's a phone buying frenzy. Now we're in a period of time where Apple will half the time come out with a new color midway through the cycle. It's like 2.5 new phones a year. It's crazy. But all of that is to say that I think there is now an incentive for Apple especially to make every year feel about the same. It's not, oh man, but next year's the big year. Every year is supposed to be equally good, not mind-blowing, not so crazy that everyone upgrades and then ignores it the next year, but every year is good. What do you think?
I think that makes a lot of sense given the way that people have changed their phone buying habits, right? There are plenty of people that are happy to buy a phone, own it for a couple years, and then they'll upgrade. They don't care so much about having the latest one or not. And for those people, it doesn't really make a difference, right? If there's a super cycle every few years, Maybe they'll be on the super cycle. They'll get, every 3 years, the big one comes. If there's no super cycles, right, then just every 3 years they'll get whatever the current phone is, and all the features that they missed out on will be in that new phone, and they'll catch up to it there. So for those people, it doesn't really matter, right? For the tech enthusiasts, they're going to probably buy the phone every year. It's like us. We're probably going to buy the new iPhone. Well, you definitely are. I'm definitely going to. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Come on, don't lie to yourself. You're buying it.
I know. We're getting the new one every year, so it doesn't even matter, right? If it's a huge upgrade super cycle or if it's something relatively small, we're still going to get it. And then I guess the question is the people in the middle, the ones that could be persuaded one way or the other, right? But then, I think it kind of balances out, because if you have a super cycle every 2 years or every 3 years, then maybe you sway them, on the super cycles and you don't on the other times. If you don't have any super cycles, maybe they'll say, okay, this year, I'll get one, I'm feeling like a new one. Next year, I won't get one. I feel like it's all going to shake out in the end. So it doesn't even make that much of a difference. But the way that things are going, moving away from super cycles, I feel like it makes sense. Make it a little bit better every year. Don't hold features, we have some feature ready, but we're going to wait for the next one to make the next one even better. Just, as you're ready, you release the features. Each phone is a solid upgrade. And I think that's just the best, overall.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you're definitely right. And I would be interested to know whether Apple withheld features more in the past or now. Because I think in some ways it is a myth. Everyone thinks that tech companies are doing all of this stuff intentionally, that they've got it planned out years in advance and they're playing 4D chess and like implementing things slowly. I don't necessarily think that that's true in most cases. A lot of the stuff we hear about in the rumor cycle, if you're really plugged in, is like feature in testing, and then they'll say they're having difficulties with manufacturing, so it got pushed. There are reasons that features are staggered. Maybe part of that is, in the past Apple would have tried to force. A good example is ProMotion, right? I mentioned this in my video here with the current generation iPhone design, which is from the iPhone 12. So iPhone 12, there was a design change. iPhone 13, we got ProMotion. iPhone 14, we got that Pro RAW camera and Dynamic Island, right? So those are like the three big things. You could say 5G, but whatever, who cares? Those are like three pretty big things. If those had all come in 1 year, super cycle. But those are all three things that people really liked. People, the iPhone 12 came out, they're like, well, I got to get the new design. ProMotion came out, they're like, I've been waiting for that since 2018. I got to get that. Then the Dynamic Island and the new camera comes out. People are like, wow, that camera looks crazy. I got to get that. And boom, Apple has now sold 3 iPhones instead of just selling 1 iPhone to more people.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how it works out. You could say, like, in a super cycle year, they're going to sell a lot more phones, and in a boring year, they're going to sell fewer, versus if they do it every year, they're keeping, it balances out, right? If you sell a lot 1 year, less in the other 2 years versus consistently for 3 years, it'll balance out. But I guess it's more just like maybe the mentality of the customers, and like if you can get people to buy it every year and be like so that dedicated and that like plugged into your ecosystem, then those are they're customers that are more meaningful to you versus people that will just buy, every so often. And especially, some people that switch regularly. There are some people that switch from iPhone to Android. I don't think, we wouldn't do that, but there are some people that absolutely would and do.
Your mom.
That's true. My mom switched from Android to iPhone. Our friend Giorgio just recently switched back from iPhone to Android. So there are some examples of that. Absolutely.
Yeah, honestly, I respect I respect those that are able to make those switches back and forth because I cannot do it. I could not, like, just uprooting the ecosystem. I mean, obviously I would never switch to Android full time, period, because I'm so in the ecosystem, but and because it would cause, an uproar, I would be probably canceled if I switched to Android. And my
Oh
friends would
yeah.
kill me because
Sam would
everyone
never
is
talk
blue
to you
bubble.
again.
Oh my god, no. Sam would never speak to me. He would act like I pushed him down the stairs at a Thanksgiving parade. You know?
Yeah, yeah, down the stairs at a parade. Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's what he
Yeah.
would act like.
Right.
But I do respect it when people can switch back and forth. People will be like, "Oh, the iPhone's boring now, so I'm going to get a foldable." And then they're like, "Wow, now the iPhone's cool again. I'm going to get an iPhone again." I'm like, "Dang. I don't know how you do that."
Yeah, like it's funny because I guess the majority of the experiences on your phone, it honestly doesn't matter, right? Like all the apps and websites that you use, or not all, but pretty much all of them are going to work on iPhone and Android. But it's just that
Mhm.
ecosystem, right? iMessage, Universal Clipboard, iCloud photo library, you can go on and on, but all of those features that tie in with everything else just makes the iPhone, like it makes it really hard to leave.
Yeah. No, and I mean that's absolutely the strategy. It's get people hooked on a family of products and you will get yourself way more upgrades. iPhone only people, you're going to make $1,000 off them. Well, you're not going to make $1,000, but you know what I mean. Every 2-3 years, maybe 4, maybe 5 years even. But if you get people on iPhone, Apple Watch, AirPods, AirTag, HomePod, iPad, MacBook. Holy crap, that's a lot of products that are all on that cycle. And wouldn't you know it, you end up in these situations where people are like, every year something is aging out and needs to get upgraded. And now Apple is making annual sales off of you. Like, it's honestly, it's pretty genius. It is pretty genius. Evil genius, perhaps, but genius nonetheless.
Well, that's why Apple has as much money as they do.
And in fact, something that I thought ahead here because we're talking about upgrades. At the beginning, when was how let me see. It's only been a couple minutes, but I put out a poll on Twitter. Sorry, on X.
Ugh.
And wow, curious results. I'm not going to well, let me see if I can screen share this because I'm pretty sure you have to sign it. Oh, yay. Oh, wait. I can't vote and show you the results because I'm not signed in. Oh, well, I'll just tell you out loud. X makes everything terrible. So I tweeted the following question. Are you planning on upgrading to an iPhone 15 this year? And if so, which one? And I gave it 3 options. The 15/15 Plus, the 15 Pro/Pro Max, or not upgrading. Give me some guesses here, percentage wise. Where do you think the spread falls?
I already looked at the results, so I won't
Ah, dang.
give you a guess, but I am very I think the results are not super crazy when you think about it, but initially I was a little bit surprised, I'll say.
I am very surprised, having also just looked at these for the first time. It'll be interesting to see if these results change once it goes to a broader audience, but at least in the initial, it's only been about 30-40 minutes since I tweeted this. So the 464 votes, curiously, at 50%, are not upgrading. So half of you guys are going into this without any plans on upgrading. Now, I will say I suspect people's minds will change when the hype of a new iPhone launch comes out, because that always is the case. But I will also say that I have definitely cultivated an audience that is focused on longevity and cost effectiveness. So this isn't necessarily an audience that is always chomping at the bit to buy something new. So this is probably not a representative sample of everyone, but I do think that it's a valid result. What really surprised me, more than the 50% of you that don't even plan on upgrading, is that 45.7% said 15 Pro and Pro Max. Only 4.3% said the regular 15. That's crazy.
I think
Wow.
personally that goes back. It's the other side of the coin as far as your audience that you were just talking about, right? You're saying you have an audience of people, a lot of them focused on longevity, not buying the new thing every year, right? Because you've done a lot of like, eBay, looking for old Mac repair, all that stuff, right? So you have all of those people. But then you also have all of the people like me. I voted for 15 Pro and Pro Max, of course. You have people in your audience that do like to buy the new phones every year. And I feel like, it's that classic laddering technique. I'm sure we've talked about it before, but Apple makes the 15 and the 15 Plus, and those are good for, they're great for pretty much anyone, right? Realistically, we would be fine with 15s, 15 pluses, 14 plus, whatever, right? But then there's the Pro, and the Pro has those couple extra little features. It has arguably the nicer build quality, different materials, whatever. And it's just a couple $100 more. And you're like, okay, if I'm gonna get this new phone, I should just get the best one. And so honestly, I am not super surprised. I think if you asked random people on the street, you would get different answers. If you asked another YouTuber's audience, maybe you would get fewer people saying that they don't want to upgrade. But also, no one's committing to anything. Maybe some people will, and some people won't. But I'm not super surprised after trying to explain it a little bit.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think last week we looked at the breakdown between Pro and non-Pro. And what you can really notice is at the initial point of launching the iPhone, the Pro outsells the regular. But once you get to a couple months later past the holiday season, all of a sudden the regular starts to sell more, because those aren't people who are going to be paying as close attention to the laddering as we are. When when the new phone comes out, I would never ever consider buying the regular and using it. Never in a million years. It just would not happen, because I want the best, the newest, the every feature. I will not sacrifice a single feature. So it's not even on my mind, right? I maybe I'll buy one to review and then sell it, give it to my mom, whatever it may be. But there's no way I would ever be like, oh, I don't think it's worth the extra $200 to get the Pro. Doesn't matter. I'm getting it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And it's the funny thing because first of all, what even is a Pro phone? Like, what is that? What does Pro really mean applied to a phone? And especially
Nothing.
when the phones, right, when they have the same, the same processor, or maybe it's whatever, the Pros have one generation newer, right? But it's like a tiny little difference. And the same, RAM, the same storage, like whatever. It's like, what does Pro even mean? But it's absolutely like you said, it's about having the new thing and the best thing, because we're tech enthusiasts and that's what we like to do and we like to spend our money on and whatever. And so I'm in the same boat where I would absolutely just get the Pro model. But like you said, there's plenty of people, right? The regular models would work for pretty much anyone, unless you're filming a movie on your iPhone 14 Pro, like Apple wants you to believe people do. And it happens very occasionally, but the majority of people don't do that. If you're not doing something like that, you don't need the Pro model. But people buy the Pro model because it's the Pro model. It has all the features. It's the shiniest one. It's the best one.
Yeah, almost nobody justifiably needs the Pro, but that's the one that you want. And I will say Apple is brilliant with laddering, especially when it comes to the iPhone, because think about it. Back in the old days, it used to be that you would just buy the newest iPhone and then maybe they would have the previous generation on sale. But now look at it. They sell the 14 Pro, 14, the 13 SE, and even the iPhone 12. And if you compare these all, like, no, where's the? I wish that there was like a more. Someone I'm sure has made a chart with the breakdown, but you can buy. Oh, here we go. This is perfect. Look at that. $429 entry level iPhone SE, $599 iPhone 13. Even I think $499 you can get an iPhone 12 too as well. I don't know why. I don't know why they sell the 12, 13, and 14 simultaneously. That's insane. But $599 for the 13, $799 for the 14, $999 for the 14 Pro. And all of a sudden, look at that. Everyone's got a price point, but wherever you buy, unless it's the top, there's always something very, very close to you that's just a little bit better for just a little bit more money. And that is not an accident.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially when you consider, I guess the 14 Plus is what? Is that $899?
Yes.
So that sits even in between the Pro and the 14 Pro and the regular 14. There's even another stepping stone there. So absolutely.
Yeah, and keep in mind that the $599 price for the iPhone 13, that's the mini. So it's $699 for the regular iPhone. The regular iPhone 13 is only $100 behind the 14, and then you're $100 behind the Plus, and then you're $100 behind the Pro, and then you're $100 behind the Pro Max. So it literally is every $100 there's a tier, and it's always just like, I mean, it's very easy to see how you could logically end up saying, you know what, I do want to get a new phone. I was going to get the 13 because I don't think I need the 14, but some people are saying the battery life might be better. I would like a larger screen, though. Maybe I should just get the 14 Plus. But then, honestly, at that point, that's like $100 off the Pro, and I do really like the Pro. Those cameras look really good. I could take really great Instagram photos. So maybe I'll just get the Pro. And then boom, you start out trying to spend $600 and you spend $1,000.
Oh yeah, it's very easy to go up. Apple knows exactly what they're doing, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it at the end of the day, it's up to the consumer what they want to buy. But Apple is very happy to make it easy and make it tempting for you to give them more money.
Yeah, and honestly, that's one of the things that they just accomplished with the Mac. Because if we go to the Mac page, like, dude, they really, where's that? I want an equivalent lineup here. I mean, the Mac is a very similar situation, right? You start with the MacBook Air, and you can actually get the M1 still for $999. So you've got a little ladder going on in here. $999 will get you an M1, extra $100, new design, and an M2. Then the 15-inch. The 15-inch is actually a really big deal because it plugged the gap between the regular M2 stuff and the M2 Pro stuff. Because before, it was the MacBook Air at $1099 and the utterly pointless and stupid MacBook Pro that nobody cares about at $1299, and then it went all the way up to $2,000 for the 14 and 16. So it was very easy back then to stay put and be like, all right, I'm not spending $2,000. That's ridiculous. All I need is a MacBook Air with maybe a storage upgrade. It's not worth $800. But now they've got this you can really see the logical leap, right? This is how they want your mind to go. I'd like a new MacBook. The MacBook Air is probably fine. That's all I really need. But that 15-inch, I do like a large screen. So maybe it would be worth getting the 15-inch MacBook Air. And to be honest, I was going to upgrade the memory and the storage. Okay, $1,700. Although, if you think about it, though, now at $1,700, I could go over to this 14-inch MacBook Pro, which has the same amount of unified memory and the same amount of storage. But now I'm getting ProMotion. I've got more ports, and it's a more powerful chip, and it's only an extra $300. So honestly, maybe I'll get that. And boom, that's a ladder. That's how you talk yourself up in price by $1,000. Whereas before, with that $800 gap, nobody's gonna make that jump, right? Nobody's gonna say, "Well, I want to spend $1,200. What's an extra $800?"
Yeah, no, it's definitely very smart on Apple's part. It's good that good for Apple that the MacBook Air, 15-inch MacBook Air, is in that slot. And I've just been thinking this whole time, what's going to happen when the iPhone Ultra comes out? Theoretically, that'll be next year. That's going to be even another step on that iPhone ladder. They're definitely going to get, the people like us that want the best of the best. Maybe not me if the screen is too big, but we'll see. Realistically, probably will get me. But
oh yeah, it's going to get you.
It'll get those people. But then I wonder, we'll see what the pricing looks like. Can they get any of the Pro Max people to ladder up to the Ultra, right? People that that weren't even going to get the Ultra, that don't need the best of the best, but they were already going to get maybe not the Plus, maybe the Plus, or maybe even the Pro Max if they can get them up to that Ultra. I guess, we haven't seen a ton of rumors about it, but we're talking about laddering, and that's what I'm thinking about.
I think Apple realized that people will buy the best. If it's noticeably the best, people will buy it. I mean, with the Apple Watch, they just figured this out with the Ultra. Because previously, look, you and I are a perfect example of this. We will buy the best. But that was not previously true of the Apple Watch. Right? You and I have never ever bought an upsold Apple Watch. We would always just buy the larger size, sure, but you and I always bought aluminum. We never even consider the stainless steel, the titanium, not an effective implementation of the ladder because all you were paying for was a material, and people won't do that. But when you take that and you say, all right, fine, I'm not going to get you by just saying, ooh, it's a nicer material. How about a larger screen, better battery life, couple of features, and a different design? Instantaneously, I spent the most money I've ever spent on a watch in my life without even hesitating it. It came out and they were like, it's a dive computer. You can go on advanced hikes. And I was like, don't care. It's the best. I'm buying it.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Especially, with the Apple Watch, right? It was always just the different case material. Maybe if you got the Hermes or the Nike, well, the Nike wasn't even like a special one, but like the Hermes, you got a different watch face. Who cares, right?
Wow.
I know. It's all about the features. The same thing like the iPhone, right? If there were a Pro iPhone that or whatever they would call it, that was literally just the base iPhone, but with the materials of the iPhone, like the Pro model, right? Where they have the glossy side rails and the frosted glass back, right? If Apple ever did that, we would never consider buying that in a million years, because we don't, you know what I mean? The base model is more than fine. And if you're just paying for better materials, it's not worth it to us. There are some people that it is worth to, right? People that care about the fashion and the aesthetics more would maybe pay more, but that's not us. But the features, absolutely. And so this iPhone Ultra, whenever it happens, right, it's not just going to be the most durable iPhone ever with, like, you know, whatever, you know, design they're going to do with it, but it's going to have probably better battery life, the action button if the regular ones don't have it, whatever other features. There's going to be other things in there that make it interesting. Not that we're ever even going to use half the features, but like, they're going to be there, which makes it the best, which means we have to get it.
It's what it comes down to is when you're able to make this like list of the things that you get when you pick a larger size, that's what sells people. You can do, you know, Apple has gotten very good at this with 14 Plus and regular 14, the Pro Max, the regular Pro. Now they're doing it with MacBooks, 14, 16, the Air, 13, 15. Great implementation of that, right? That's a preference. Size is a preference. They've done that with the Apple Watch, the iPhone, the iPad, the Mac. And that's, I think, exactly right. And they have that calibrated quite well to where it's only $200 to go between the different sizes, whether that's, or $100 for the iPhone, and it scales. Great job. But if you want to get people to jump up a tier, not a size, but a tier, you need that list. It was not enough to say, okay, I think on the stainless steel Apple Watch, you also got stronger glass. It's like the sapphire glass, but that was it. If I'm looking at that and saying, okay, $200 and it's shiny instead of not shiny and the glass is stronger, that's not a long enough list. But that was just for the stainless steel, which is like $500. Apple leapfrogged that, went to $800, and we talked about how good of a deal it was because they used to sell the titanium Apple Watch for the same price, where you got no additional features. All you were getting was titanium, and now you're getting titanium and a bigger screen and a better battery and a different design and an indestructible display. All of this stuff at the same price, and then boom, we're sold. I would never ever have considered an $800 watch until they did that. But as soon as it became the best, I fell for it because I'm a sucker.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen with the $1,500 or however much it's going to be iPhone
Do you think it's going to be that
Ultra.
much?
Well, okay. Well, how much is the Pro Max? It starts at $1,100.
Yes.
Right. The Apple Watch Ultra is twice or almost twice as much as the regular Series 8, right?
I think you're right.
Maybe not twice, but like it's a lot.
Hang on a second. It is. Oh, okay. Well, it depends on how you want to draw that comparison. If you want to draw it to like the cellular version.
Sure.
All right, so let's do it. The aluminum Midnight 45 millimeter with cellular. That's $530.
Okay.
So I guess it's about
$300 difference.
Ooh, no. Yeah, I don't know, man. In my mind, I always thought that it would maybe be $12.99, but I think you might be right. I think it might be $14.99 to get the Ultra.
It wouldn't surprise me. And we have to see, you know, what is the Ultra? What's going to make the iPhone Ultra the Ultra? I think Apple did a great job with the Apple Watch, making it really big with amazing battery life and the, you know, more advanced features, the more accurate GPS, the dive computer, whatever, things that we realistically don't really care about, but like, you
Yeah.
know, it's the Ultra. It has to be the best one that will do, it'll work for anyone, no matter, like, you know what I mean? It has to be the best one. And the Ultra, I think they did a great job with that. What is the iPhone Ultra going to look like? Is it going to be, you know, big battery life improvement? Is it going to be another camera, or like drastically like a new camera system that's like noticeably better than the regular ones? Add another camera or two, you know, action button or something. Materials, obviously there's going to be different materials, but it's like, what is it going to be to get to that Ultra level? And if you're really putting everything into it and you're delivering the best possible phone that you possibly can, I don't think they're going to have a problem going up a few $100 for this one. I really don't.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, here's the thing: the action button that you mentioned there, the CCRP on this is confusing, but it's not impossible that the iPhone 15 Pro might get the action button. We've been hearing stuff about that. So I do wonder what the Ultra would feature. Like, what's the big thing? I think, well, consider this as well. The action button has been rumored for the 15 Pro. Titanium frame has also been rumored for the 15 Pro. So I think one thing that the Ultra would likely have is sapphire glass, maybe front and back. But that's a pretty key piece for the for the Apple Watch Ultra, and I absolutely love it. It's I mean, I don't know about you, Noah, but mine is perfect. 100% perfect. Not one single imperfection after nearly a year.
Yeah, same. And the Series 5 that I had before this was definitely not in as good shape as this is now.
Yeah. My Series 5 was a little rough, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And that's only the screen. I was very good with that watch, and it wasn't in bad condition at all. But my goodness, could you imagine if the iPhone had a screen that was like that? You'd never need a screen protector. Dude, I would be sick.
That's true. You wouldn't need, I mean, I don't have a screen protector, but like, arguably, you know, taking a risk if you don't have one. But if you have sapphire glass on the iPhone, it's not even a question anymore. It's not even taking a risk anymore. It's like, yeah, of course you don't need it. Sapphire glass. Absolutely.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, the thing that's perplexing me the most is it seems like Apple doesn't even want to do a design cycle anymore. Because from what we've been hearing, the iPhone 16 Ultra might have its own somewhat different design. I imagine it'll be a little thicker, which will mean better battery life, which all on its own will get me to buy it. Like, yeah, absolutely. I will get, you know, already my battery life is fine on the Pro Max, but honestly not as good as it used to be. The 11 Pro Max was insane, and we've not gotten back to that level yet. So hopefully we do with the 15 Pro Max, but the Ultra would be, I mean, what if it's like an iPhone? Can we do 2 days on a charge?
Yeah, that would be, and I desperately want better battery life. You know that I've had some woes with iPhone batteries. Like that would be huge.
Well, okay. So is this year maybe the year that you switch to the Pro Max?
You know what? I didn't even think about that. Genuinely, I am just like, yeah, I'm going to get the 15 Pro because I had the 14 Pro and the 13 Pro and the 12 Pro. But I guess if the Ultra is really going to be even bigger than the Pro Max, maybe I should start getting used to it. I don't know.
Warmed up. Yeah.
I didn't even think about it like that, but you're not wrong.
think about it this way. Noah, pull out your phone. What's your battery at?
36%.
Would you like to know mine?
Sure.
Actually, that's worse than I thought. 43.
Okay.
Did you charge it all today?
I took my phone off the charger at 8 hours ago, I guess.
Okay, so mine is 11 hours ago.
Yeah, so
And I'm at
3 hours
43.
longer and you're still higher than me.
Yeah. Now, the rumor is that battery life is going to be better. Supposedly, we're getting just larger batteries all around. And if we're also getting 3 nanometer on the A17 chip, that would significantly, I think that Apple would prioritize battery life over performance. So, I mean, geez, this could be a very big year for battery life. And if you were to jump from the Pro to the Pro Max, I have a feeling that it would blow your mind.
Ooh, all right. I really genuinely didn't even consider it, but I might have to go to the Apple store, or I will go to the Apple store sometime between now and when the iPhones come out. I got to hold the Pro Max in my hand again. I got to put it in my pocket. I got to see what we're dealing with here, but I guess I will at least consider it.
That's my boy right there. I mean, look, you got me on board with larger laptops.
It's
Although
true.
I have since gone back. I've
Well,
waffled.
That's fine.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm honestly so torn on the MacBook side because right now Apple has options for 13, 14, 15, and 16 inches. And depending on the day, I absolutely love all of them. I don't even know what I would pick. Maybe the 14-inch MacBook Pro, just because it has, I think, the best combination of like screen, form factor, battery life, performance, and promotion. But I really, really do like the 15-inch MacBook Air. And I think the 16-inch is too big. I think you were right when you got me on the 15-inch. But now that we're up to the 16, it might be just too big.
I still like my 16-inch because I very often use the 16-inch. I use it like as a laptop. Like right now it's docked on my, my display with my streaming setup. So it doesn't even matter what computer it is. But very often I use it as a laptop and I really like having that extra space. Now, maybe if I had the 15-inch MacBook Air, it would be enough, right? 15-inch screen's probably enough. You do lose out on some of the Pro features, though, obviously. I feel like the 14 Pro might be a little small. I haven't tried it. I haven't tried a smaller laptop in, quite a while. So maybe it actually would work out. But I feel like I do appreciate the extra screen size of the 16 Pro. But it is a little bit annoying for travel. It is pretty heavy. It's fairly bulky. Whatever. I could appreciate an Air, for travel.
So this is what intrigues me. Why does that same argument not apply to your iPhone?
I think the iPhone is something that I carry all the time. Like literally, unless I'm like lying in bed or I guess like, sitting somewhere on the table, like the vast majority of the time it's like in my hand or in my pocket. And I feel like, I feel like it's the balance between, when you're actually using the thing, right? When you're using the device, you want it to be as big, arguably want it to be as big as possible because you have more screen real estate. You can see things easier. You can do more stuff, right? Same for the MacBook and the iPhone. When you're using it, you want it to be bigger. When you're carrying it around, you want it to be smaller and lighter, right? Because, obviously. And so I feel like for the Mac, I use it more than I carry it around. And for the phone, I carry it around more than I use it, or at least I carry it around a lot more than I carry around my MacBook Pro. So I feel like that's the difference.
Dude, honestly, when you just said that, that really, if I were like a smart person who could like revolutionize the world, that's the key catalyst. When you're using something, you want the screen to be as big as humanly possible. But when you're moving something, you want it to be as small as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone picks their devices based on the use it or move it axiom.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to call it.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
you basically have to sit down and figure out which of those is more valuable. That's why people like the iPhone 13 mini, because they're like, realistically, moving this tiny little thing around is great. But using, I'm sorry, but anyone who says that they prefer to use a small phone just means that they don't like to use a phone. Like anyone who just lives on their phone, you know how a lot of people, especially younger folks, Gen Z and millennials, might not even have a desktop, certainly, and will maybe have a 13-inch M1 MacBook Air that they only use for schoolwork, and 100% of their time, other than that, technology-wise, it's on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
Media consumption, TikTok, YouTube, on the phone. Music consumption, on the phone. If you're someone who is like that, the Mini is difficult. It's difficult because it is a very small screen. It's hard to type on. It's hard. You don't, I think it is really interesting if it was remotely possible to have a phone, honestly, the size of the original iPhone that somehow like expanded out. And I'm not talking about a foldable because that's different. But like literally a shape-shifting iPhone that could be this small in your pocket and then grow like the Viagra phone, that would be perfect.
I mean, yeah, it would. And to your point about foldables, right? I feel like that's why people like them, because you sort of get that, but you really don't, because the weight doesn't change. And oftentimes it actually increases because you have now arguably three screens, the one on the outside and then on the inside. I guess it's one giant screen, or however those things work. But you have more components, and then and the weight, so the weight stays the same, and it gets very thick, right, or relatively thick when you close it. So foldables get you a little bit of the way there, but not really. Maybe that's better for some people. Maybe some people don't care.
I will say, if I were to ever get a foldable phone, it would have to be, I mean, I personally don't think that they're that useful, and I would never get them because they're Android. But if I had to get a foldable phone, it would be this, the Z Flip 5. Vertical flip versus a horizontal, like I don't need a phone that is the same form factor as this and then becomes twice as big. I want a phone that becomes this big and is in my pocket at half the size. That's, I think, the key difference. I don't necessarily want a tablet that becomes enormous when I take it out. I want a regular phone that becomes tiny when I put it away.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you can definitely see, pros and cons for either approach. I'm sure it could be nice to have basically a tablet in your pocket, right? If your phone can fold out and have a super big screen, it could be great for some things. Media consumption, maybe you're going to have huge black bars, but like you will have maybe, actually, I don't know how much better it would be for media consumption, but definitely like, social media and multitasking and things like that. But I agree. I really like the idea of these like vertical flip phones, the Galaxy Z Flip 5. There's like whatever, the LG, I think they have one, whatever. There's a couple companies have them. But I like the idea of it being super small and then opening, then you open it up and you get a full size screen. I feel like that's a good implementation.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of the features that they outline on this are a little goofy, like the whole what do they call it? Well, there's the flex window, which is like the front screen. I like that. I think that is a good implementation. It's kind of like the Apple Watch face.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't think I would use it all that much because it's fairly limited. It would probably just be, I would style it, you customize it or whatever, and that's about it. But the whole like selfie thing where you use the main camera with the flex window, that's fair enough, but that's also because the front facing camera on this thing is pretty weak. But the biggest thing for me is that you just get that nice reasonable phone when you open it up. And really funny enough, I'm like trying to find a picture of it here on their page and they don't even show it. Like all of the pictures have the phone like partially bent.
Yeah, why don't they
Which
show
is,
it open?
I don't know. That's weird. I wouldn't even like. There's the whole thing where they're like, "Oh, you use it in 90-degree angle mode." No, I'm not going to do that. That's kind of silly.
Yeah.
It's a little gimmicky, but whatever. Like realistically, I don't even need a cover screen. I would buy an iPhone that literally just folded in half. No outside screens. You have to open it to use it. Every completely normal iPhone with a hinge right here that folds down in half. That's all I need.
Huh. I don't know. I feel like, I guess if the folding, like if it really, if Apple really nailed it, which I'm sure they would if they were to launch it, and you couldn't see the crease and it really just, you opened it up and it was the iPhone. I mean, I have my always on display turned on. I kind of like it, to be honest. So maybe I would want to have an outside screen. I feel like, the taking the selfies with the full quality camera is pretty cool, whatever. But I do agree that like if Apple were to make a foldable, it would make sense as a vertical for this everything we've talked about, the smaller size, you don't need a tablet, whatever. Also, I guess, it wouldn't trample on iPad mini sales as much. I don't know how much a foldable iPhone really would, hinder iPad sales, but like at the very least, if it's vertical folding, you can't compare that to an iPad, or you can't compare that to anything else. So I think it would make sense.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, only time will tell whether folding phones are a niche trend or a direction for smartphones. But I do think that there are some similarities to the initial birth of the smartphone, right? Like you go back to 2007 or so, there were a lot of very interesting styles of phones. Flip, slide, candy bar, some very limited touch screens. Like they started to get very creative with their shapes. Then the iPhone came along and they're like, stop that. That's not what we want. And I do wonder if our current version of that is, oh, do you want a tiny phone? Do you want a big phone? Do you want a flippy phone? Do you want one that folds out width-wise, hot dog or hamburger style? Which direction do you want your screen to fold? And then Apple comes along and they say, what? You don't need a screen. Glasses. Put it on your face. It's in your world now. I do wonder if that is the real direction that we're headed.
I didn't even think about it that way, but that whole idea of like, the original phones used to be the giant bricks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they eventually shrunk down to be like the pocket phones, the flip phones with T9 dialing, whatever. And then, we got all the interesting, the candy bar phones and the colorful phones, whatever. And then, and then Apple came and revolutionized the phone. And then yeah, over time things have gotten, we've started to see wacky things get. That's like a really interesting way of thinking about it. I didn't think about it that way, but absolutely. And so yeah, I guess the question is, it always comes back to Vision Pro at some point because we're so excited about it. But is Vision Pro going to be that next thing? Because we've talked about this before. Where is the phone going to go from here? I guess maybe we wouldn't have seen the iPhone coming back when we had candy bar phones. But like at this point, if we're getting to that, the iPhone's been around for quite a while. And, where's that going to go next? Is Apple even going to be the one to do that? Is anyone going to do that? Or is it really just glasses? Is that the next step? We don't know.
I'll tell you what we do know.
What do we know?
We do know that this episode, unfortunately, has come to an end.
Oh, man.
I know. We'll see you next week. I think next week we should start breaking down what we're going to see at the event. Because next week will be almost exactly 1 month out from the rumored September 13th date. So next week, come ready, Noah. Your favorite rumors and leaks, what you're most excited for. Everyone in chat, this is your homework, all right? Next Sunday, come prepared. I want specifics. What are we going to see? What are the features? What's your CCRP versus what's on your wish list? That's your homework. I've been your host, Luke Miani. Thank you for joining us.
And I've been your host, Noah Rubin. We will be back next week with that homework, and have a great night.